Good morning, internet family. Happy Tuesday. I had to think about that. So I'm going to share with you guys a personal experience and what the Lord spoke to me through that. Boy, my hair sure is frizzy. Wonder what's up with that. So I almost had a little meltdown a couple of days ago. This was actually Sunday. And I'm actually not proud that a couple of people that usually aren't in my home were in my home and got to witness part of this. I even randomly just cussed, and I never do that. But what that was doing was showing something that was inside of me. So here's what happened. So Sunday is usually like my wind down day. I get off work at 2 on that day, so I know that I've got the majority of the evening to meal prep and rest and be home early enough to not have to rush through my nightly duties to get in bed in time and blah, 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 right? Well, I was super just high strung Sunday. And I think I've been kind of a little bit more high strung every day up until that point for who even knows how long. I was irritated. And there's just a bunch of things piling up, and I've had this box from Spectrum sitting by my TV at this point for several days. And it's upgraded equipment, and I have until the end of this week to get it installed. And like I said, Sunday's my best day with more time at home and whatever. So I'm looking at it, I'm like grumpy as all get out, tired, don't feel like doing anything at all, and I know that I need to do it. So I'm like, fine, I'll do it. My husband and I get in this little bit of a tiff, and I'm just kind of trying to ignore him, and he's watching TV. So basically he's watching TV through my head while I'm trying to do this, because our internet stuff is under the TV with everything for the TV. So I go to tackle it, and I unplug the old equipment, and I'm like, maybe I can use these cords. Maybe this is going to be super easy. Of course, nobody would want to make that easy, right? It's got to be more complicated than that. So I go to change the cords, and I open, we've got this little cord hiding box. I'm sure some of you guys have them too. And I go to open it, and mind you, I'm not the one that installed this stuff in the first place when we moved in here, but it's chaos. It's complete chaos. And one of my pet peeves anyways, like, I'm not touching it, is hangers and cords and strings and tangled necklaces, whatever. If it's tangled, I don't want to touch it. And it's every cord. We've got like 5 or 6 things over there plugged in, and some of these things have 2 and 3 cords to them. It's a catastrophe under there, and I'm already just ill as all get out and aggravated and not saying things that are on my mind to the conversation my husband and I just had. And I kind of snapped, like, it was just awful. And I gave it up for a minute, and it just made it worse. And I wound up having to tackle it. But as I was tackling it later on, after having a meltdown, after coming out of character, and after seeing all this junk, and this Sunday was awful for me. That those couple of hours here at home were awful for me. But I'm really grateful for it, because it brought to light a bunch of stuff, where I've been compromising, where I've been holding hands with things that I don't want to hold hands with, where I have allowed things in. It brought to light a bunch of things I need to buckle down better on if I want to feel better, and if I want to do better, and if I just want to be, who I actually want to be, a follower and emulator of Jesus instead of who I used to be. So we have the TV sitting on what should be an end table that matches our coffee table. And I'm underneath it. I'm curled up, hunched over underneath it, messing with all these cords. And I'm thinking the whole time while I'm doing it, like, if this had been done the right way the first time, this wouldn't be an issue. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking about my meltdown and me snapping out. And I'm listening to Jennifer LeClaire actually while I'm doing this, and she's speaking prophecy and giving wisdom about the month of February and distractions and all of these things. And I'm just acknowledging, like, boom, 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 everything she's saying and everything that Lord is revealing to me is like, I have let so much get chaosed. Is that a word? Get chaos like these cords are. And if they hadn't been like this already, today wouldn't be like this. If they hadn't already been like this, and I hadn't compromised here, and I hadn't compromised there, and I hadn't lacked my discipline and not done what I was supposed to do and not kept things in order here, this simple task of upgrading, and here's the thing, this simple task of upgrading wouldn't be such a hard thing. It wouldn't be so overwhelming. I thought about that for a minute, and I've really been thinking about that since Sunday. So the Lord is going to want to upgrade us, our lives. Even for those of an unbeliever, it's one upgrade after another, either that or downgrade, because we're either moving forwards or backwards. We're never sitting still, because if we're sitting still, we're stagnating, which is moving backwards. So we're never actually sitting still. We are moving forwards or backwards. So if we are getting an upgrade, we need to be in order and ready for that upgrade, right? Otherwise, that upgrade is going to cause us so much turmoil, and it's going to cause us to upheave everything that even brought us to the upgrade in the first place. And is the upgrade even going to work? And in order for it to, we're going to have so much extra stuff to do. So should we not just be prepared for the upgrade? In order to do that, we have to have everything in order. We have to have everything aligned with, with what's going to happen, not just what felt good at the moment. And those cords were such a good example of that. And it reminds me of the things that we go through. So this morning, while I was running and praying, there were some things that I was trying to skip through in my conversation with God, just like to touch the tip of the iceberg. Here's that, lay it out there, let's move on. No, we need to deal with this. We really need to deal with this. What am I actually thinking? What am I feeling? What do I need to repent of? And what do I actually need to seek the Lord to do for this person and for this circumstance? Let's not just, touch the tops of things and straighten things up on top and make the top look pretty. Let's go deep. Let's go deep. Let's get in that box and straighten up those cords with anger and resentment and offenses and bitterness and hurt. And with our relational issues and with stuff that we have no control over, but we need to talk to God about because we're feeling some type of way about it. With our habits, our lack of habits that we need, our self-discipline, where we're out of control, where we want control, all of these things and so many more, we need to keep in order. And there's things, we're busy. We're all really busy people. I know I am anyways. I don't know about you guys and what you do all day, every day, but I am a busy person. So it's easy and sometimes even necessary for me to be like, I'll deal with that later. And I have good intentions. I usually have good intentions. I usually plan on getting back to it and dealing with it. But time is a thief. And that doesn't just apply to our children growing up. That applies to us dealing with things we need to do. It applies to us enjoying our lives, us maintaining our lives. It applies to everything. Time is a thief. And if we're not mindful and intentional and careful and observant of our own selves, we're going to wind up like that. By the way, I still haven't fixed it. I think I'm going to put a post-it on it for this weekend is actually probably what I'm going to do. We're going to wind up like that box out there of cords jumbled up together that was handled in the most convenient and quickest way possible at the time, and with a lid put on it, which works great. Everything works great. Everything was plugged in and everything was working fine. The whole year it's been like that. But when it came time for the upgrade, we were not ready. We were not prepared, and it was a whole lot more trouble than it needed to be. And the rest of me was just like those cords as well. So it didn't go very well. But I learned a really valuable lesson from it. And I'm wondering who else can learn from this. Like, if you don't have the time, literally do not. It's not a choice that you don't want to or you can't make the time, but you literally don't have the time. Make a note. Do something intentional to remind yourself to deal with everything. And I'm not talking about cleaning your toilet. I'm talking about cleaning the inside of the cup. What verse is that? That is Matthew 23:26. It actually starts with 25 about how the Pharisee is cleaning the outside of the cup and not the inside. But Jesus is talking to the Pharisee and says, "You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, and the outside may also be clean." It's kind of hard to clean the inside of something and not get the outside, really, because as you're doing it, it's going to get clean usually anyways. Wouldn't hurt to get some effort on there just in case, but it's not just the outside that matters. We can make the outside look pretty. I've seen plenty of new cars. I'm driving an 06 minivan, and I get mind blown sometimes when I'm driving past things that are on the side of the road with orange sticker on them, and they look brand new. And there they are on the side of the road with a sticker on it, which means it's been there for a few days. It's not the outside that matters, it's the inside, and we have to keep up with it. We have to keep up with it. We have to keep up with it. Otherwise, we're not healthy. And here's the main thing. So, like I was having a conversation with a client yesterday about food, because I've got, intestinal whatever issues, some sort of issues, undiagnosed problems, and I have to be mindful of what I eat and how much I eat and when I eat, and everything about my food intake I have to be careful with. And sometimes I get really salty about that, and sometimes I just don't care. I don't, and I'll just do what I want every once in a while, and I end up paying for it. And, you know, if I'm not careful about that, it's just food. You can, you know, it's everyone tells me to do what I want. And it's so easy to listen to, but then that's how the enemy gets me, because while I'm over here worried about that, I'm not going to care. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I wind up sick. And then oftentimes I'll wind up sick, and since I'm already sick, who cares after that? And I do even more and get even more sick. And meanwhile, all I'm doing is I'm affecting every other arena of my life. My husband and I's relationship isn't as strong as it could be. I'm not working as good. I'm not ministering as good. I'm not feeling as good. I'm not praying connected to God like I usually am, because I'm over here like I don't even want to talk to anybody, let alone God, because I feel like a failure and I feel like crap. I'm not asleep. Everything in my life gets turned upside down and gets poisoned because it doesn't matter. It's just food. And that's how it is with every single thing in our life. We have to maintain every single thing. We have to be mindful about everything. And it's not because we have to live under a thumb and that God's like some unjust ruler or something. It's just that everything matters. Everything matters. And, you know, if we want to, we do have free will. And we are allowed to choose. We are allowed to choose to live our lives in whatever way we want. And we're allowed to feel however we want. So if we don't want to organize our cords, if we don't want to clean the inside of the cup and drink out of a dirty one, if we don't want to deal with any of those internal things, anger, unforgiveness, bitterness, offenses, hurt, chaos, lack of discipline, whatever it may be, if we don't want to, we don't have to. We don't have to. But show me somebody who is completely uncontrolled in all of those things, and I will show you the same person who is also probably miserable. And very likely miserable and doesn't even realize it. So what I'm seeking is joy, and what I'm seeking is freedom. I don't want to be in bondage to anything, and I certainly don't want to be here, you know, when the Lord is ready for my next upgrade, and I'm not. I have to do all of this sudden maintenance stuff that I should have been doing the whole time just to receive what he wants to give me, or not be able to install it at all. So that's what I've got for everyone today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I love you all.